but I hope they'll be back into the class. So like we started last week, started looking at culture. What is culture? We said the shortest definition of culture is to say that culture is the total way of life of a group of people in a particular society. Why did we put the word particular? Because culture is relative. What is accepted in one culture might not be the same in another culture. And we said the term culture was used this way by pioneer English anthropologist, a man we call Edward B. Taylor. Sir Edward Taylor, in his book Primitive Culture, published in 1871. Taylor said that culture is that complex whole which include knowledge, belief, art, law, morals, customs, and any other capabilities and habits acquired by man as a member of a society. I want you to know that whatever you claim to be your culture, you acquire it. You acquire it. Like I said to us last week, that man was born tabula rasa. We were born empty. Tabula rasa means empty slate. It is when you were born that people started writing on it. They started writing on that empty slate. And that is why we said, because last week we started looking at the characteristic of culture. And I could remember I said culture is an adaptive mechanism. Are we together in the class, please?
Yes, sir.
I think that was where we stopped. We started looking at characteristics of culture. We said
Yes,
culture
sir.
is an adaptive mechanism. Yes. To go back to that, we said that the first human evolved in tropical and subtropical region of Africa about 2.5 million years ago. Since then, we have successfully occupied all of the major geographic regions of the world. But our bodies have remained essentially those of warm climate animals. We cannot survive outside of the warmer region of our planet without our cultural knowledge and technology. What is this saying to us? That despite the fact that the only area we can survive is that warm climate. You get it? Where we can survive, where we can live successfully, you know, but we have found ourselves as man, as human beings, in different areas that are even contrary to where we could survive. But as a result of cultural knowledge and technology, we have been able to survive. Where we find ourselves that the temperature is not, you know, conducive for living, man will also look for ways to adapt to that society. And that adaptation is from our culture. Some people, what they use their own adaptive mechanism when they are found themselves in a warm environment is to just, you know, put fire together, put wood together and set up fire to keep that environment warm. And going by technology, people have so many things to keep themselves warm. You get it? So that was about the adaptive nature of culture. And we said that culture is an adaptive mechanism. Anywhere we find ourselves or we have found ourselves, we try to adapt. Some of us who have never left our parents before, we were used to that mommy's boy, mommy's girl, daddy's girl, and we later found ourselves where we never expected. Somebody that was, you know, that grew up in the West, found himself or herself in the North. Somebody that was, that grew up in the North, found himself in the West. You have to adapt. And that is the adaptive mechanism of culture that we are talking about. What made it possible for our ancestors to begin living in temperate and ultimately subarctic region of the northern hemisphere after 500,000 years ago was the invention of efficient hunting skill. Some people, they found themselves in the riverine area. They have to adapt. Like those we are talking, they develop hunting skills. They started killing animals to survive. Those who found it, they started fishing. They, made canoe, and they use that as their means of transportation. You get it? They develop means of survival, efficient hunting, fire use, and ultimately clothing, warm housing, agriculture, and commerce just to survive. If anywhere you find yourself is not conducive, think of what you can do to make that place conducive, and you adapt. That is what has brought us where we are today from the ancient generation. Culture has been a highly successful adaptive mechanism for our species. It has given us a major selective advantage in the competition for survival with other life forms. Culture has allowed the global human population to grow from less than 10 million people shortly after the end of the last ice age to more than 6.5 billion people today. Like I told us, the world population about 8.5 billion now, or going to 8.5 billion. That was the projection that by 2050, the world population will be 8.5 billion. You get it? And mere 10,000 years later, that is from when it was 10 million to 6.5 billion, a mere 100 years later. Culture has made us the most dangerous and the most destructive large animal on our planet. With so many things we have discovered, with so many things we are into, it has made the world, even the world, so dangerous for people to live in and to other species. From our industries, from our behaviors, so many things are happening. Like what we release into the air, the gas that are being released into the air affect human beings. Like we were told that even the issue of COVID-19 and Ebola, they were man-made. So this tells us that culture has made us the most dangerous and the most destructive large animal on our planet. It is ironic that despite the power that culture has given us, we are totally dependent on it for survival. We need our cultural skills to stay alive. I think that was where we stopped last week. Over the last several 100,000 years, we have developed new survival-related cultural skills and technologies at a faster rate than natural selection could alter our bodies to adapt to the environmental changes that confronted us. The fact that cultural evolution can occur faster than biological evolution has significantly modified the effect of natural selection on humans. One consequence of this has been that we have not developed thick fat layer and dense fur coat like polar bears in the cold region, because our culture provided the necessary warmth during winter time. So culture has helped us. So the next thing is culture is learned. We are looking at the characteristics of culture. Culture is learned. Like I told us, we were born tabula rasa, and it is the responsibility of the older member of the society to transmit the culture of the society into the new members of the society. And this is done through what we call socialization. Human infants come into the world with basic drives such as hunger and thirst, but they do not possess instinctive pattern of behavior to satisfy them. Even when they are hungry at bed, even when they need food, they don't know how to satisfy that desire. That is why we talk about culture is being learned. They cannot satisfy that desire by themselves. Likewise, they are without any cultural knowledge. However, they are genetically predisposed to rapidly learn language and other cultural traits. Remember, I told us that every single aspect of a culture is a trait, cultural trait. So they are fast to learn language. They are fast to learn other cultural traits. Newborn humans are amazing learning machines. Any normal baby can be placed into any family on earth and grow up to learn their culture and and accept it as his own or her own. Meaning that, as I said, that we were born tabula rasa, we were not wired to learn a particular culture. A child is not wired to learn a particular culture. If your both parents are from the eastern part of Nigeria, and you were born and grew up among the Yoruba, I think I told us this of a friend who is in Lagos. We attended same primary school, secondary school, live all his life in Lagos, school in Lagos, and got married to a Yoruba lady too. Even when he got to the eastern part for the burial of the father, they told him that you're not an Igbo boy. So we are not wired to learn a particular culture. It is wherever we find ourselves that culture we will learn. Even if your parents are Igbos and you were born even in the Yoruba part, in the western part of Nigeria, their culture, the Igbo culture will not have strong hold on you. Like other culture where you go to school, you interact with other people who are Yorubas. Definitely, majority of what you will learn, you may learn the language, but you will be more of Yoruba. Like I have among my students, many of them, their parents send them to their state, to the eastern part, so that they can, majority of them, ladies, so that they can see Igbo man to marry them, so that they will not marry Yoruba or where they grew up. But that is not it. So culture is learned, and we are not wired to learn any particular culture. As a baby, it is anywhere you find yourself that if you are placed in among the Hausas and your parents are Igbos, but you are placed in Hausa family and you grew up there, forget it. You'll be a confirmed Hausa boy, though your name is Chinedu or Chukuma. You'll be speaking Hausa as if your name is Mohammed or Gambo. That is just it. Newborn humans are amazing learning machines. Any normal baby can be placed into any family on earth and grow up to learn their culture and accept it as his or her own. Since culture is non-instinctive, it is not by instinct. Culture is not by instinct, it is learned. Like I think I asked us in this class, is culture nature or nurture? And some said it is nature, some said it is nurtured. And I said to us, it is both. There are three schools. We have the school of nurtured, we have the school of natured, and we have the school of both. And the most prominent among them is the combination of both. So since culture is non-instinctive, we are not genetically programmed to learn a particular one. Every human generation potentially can discover new things and invent better technologies like those early men. They were using what's it called, stone to get fire. They will strike two stones together and it will spark and bring fire. That has gone. But that was what those generations lived by, and they sustained them. Now we move from that to matches. From matches, some people are using lighter. Even now we have so many cooking gas that I don't need matches. Once you just turn the knob, it will bring fire. So every human generation potentially can discover new things and invent better technologies. The new cultural skills and knowledge are added onto what was learned in previous generations. Yes, you still grow up with those old idea, culture, then you still learn new one, to change. as if to add to the existing one. As a result, culture is also cumulative. You can get those concepts. Culture is instinctive, culture is non-instinctive, culture is cumulative, culture is learned. Do you understand the three now? Culture is learned, culture is not instinctive, culture is also what? Cumulative. Cumulative means adding up. Culture is adding up. Culture is adding up. Anywhere you are coming from, you are coming with a particular some trait of that culture. When you get to another level, another culture, you begin to learn. Not that the one you learned have gone, but you are adding up. That is why we said culture is cumulative. Do we understand that before I continue?
Yes, sir.
Everybody, we understood? Okay, fine.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So we said culture is cumulative. Due to its cumulative effect, most high school students today are now familiar with mathematical insight and solution that ancient Greeks such as Archimedes and Pythagoras struggled their life to discover. They use all their life to prove Pythagoras. But I'm telling you, primary school children are doing Pythagoras today. What took a man his entire life? What took a man his entire life? You get it? It took him his entire life. It took him his entire life. That is talking about Pythagoras and Archimedes. Cultural evolution is due to the cumulative effect of culture. Cultural evolution is due to cumulative effect of culture.
Incoming call from anchor Tim Adegboyega.
And what happened now? I'm not hearing him, or is it only me that is not hearing him?
He had
Me
a
too, I
call. He
can't
had
hear
a
him.
call.
Okay.
He had a call. So I
Okay.
think he'll
Okay.
join back.
Okay.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hello? Yeah, sorry.
Hello, sir.
Hi.
Yeah.
We can hear you, sir.
Okay, thank you. We said
Okay.
cultural evolution is due to the cumulative effect of culture, adding up of culture, adding up of different culture. And you see what we call evolution. Cultural evolution, different one will begin to spring up. We now understand that the time between major cultural invention has become steadily shorter. Before, when you have one pattern of culture, before you have another one, will take a longer time. But now the rate at which culture is evolving, the rate at which children, current generation, are inventing different form of culture is alarming. We now understand that the time between major cultural invention has become steadily shorter, especially since the invention of agriculture, 8,000 to 10,000 years ago. The progressively larger human population after that time was very likely both a consequence and a cause of accelerating cultural growth, because the increase in human population has led to the acceleration of cultural growth. People need to survive, and as the population is increasing, people began to occupy where was not previously occupied. As the population keep increasing, people began to expand where we once called interior has become city. I could remember, if you are living in Morocco in Lagos, they make jest of you. Morocco, where they are selling fish. But today, that Morocco is what they turn to Aja. where they turn to Lekki, and you can't even, for you to buy land there now is something else. So we see as population increases, the time of invention, cultural invention, began to shrink because people began to expand to other areas and they needed to survive. They needed adaptation or adaptation. They need to adapt. And where they found themselves will determine what kind of adaptation they are going to have. The progressively larger human population after that time was very likely both a consequence and also a cause of accelerating cultural growth. The more people there are, the more likely new ideas and information we accumulate. Do you understand that now? Because of population increase, that has shortened the time for new invention, and that has led to, the shortness of time of new cultural invention, because people need to survive. And what they were using or what they are using in particular area might not be what they will need in another area, because they've just expanded to that area. So they need another level of innovation or invention to survive. Do we understand that? Hello? Hello?
Sir.
Do we understand that?
Hello, sir. We are hearing you.
I'm asking if you understood
sir.
yeah, okay, fine. That's okay.
Understand.
If those ideas, no. The more people there are, the more likely new ideas and information we accumulate. If those ideas result in a larger, more secure food supplies, the population will inevitably grow. In a sense, culture has been the human solution to surviving changing environment, but it has continuously compounded the problem by making it possible for more humans to stay alive. Because of adaptation, because of different innovation, it has given more room to more people to live alive, and they are seeing it as a problem, which was why they wanted to kill everybody in Africa, send Ebola, send, what is it called now? COVID-19. Because the adaptation is helping people to adapt, and they are providing for their need, and they are living longer. And that, is contributing to increase in world population. That is causing increase in world population. In other words, human cultural evolution can be seen as solving a problem that causes the same problem again and again. Did you understand that? In other words, human cultural evolution can be seen as solving a problem that causes the same problem again and again. Please, can somebody explain that to us? Human
Evolution.
In other words, human cultural evolution can be seen as solving a problem that causes the same problem again and again. Can somebody help us with that?
Okay, so let me try. Okay.
Mr. Peter,
My
I'm
name
hearing you.
my name is Peter. Okay,
Peter of Kenya.
Okay. When they say human evolution helps us solve problem and it also causes problem. Okay. Let me say, for example, in the olden days when the use of gun have not yet been invented, our ancestors do use spear to hunt, or they lay some traps in order to hunt down their food. So later on, due to human evolution, then gun was now produced. That's gun came into use with the aim of using it to hunt, so that hunters can now hunt very easily instead of them setting traps or using spares, stressing themselves. So that the invention of gun is to reduce the stress as a human that we are going through, just to reduce our stress. So that's where the use of gun came in. Like, that's where the use of gun became important in human evolution. So where the use of gun now became a problem is because some human beings, instead of using this gun for what it was made of, they started using it for criminal activities, such as using it to rob bank, using it to rob and to go to people's houses to rob them, using it to also kill one another. So that's also another example whereby human evolution also caused problem.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much from the angle you came in. You are correct. Yes, you are very, very correct. And again, looking at it, because here we are talking about the problem of population. Yeah, you came from another angle, but you are very correct. But if we also look at it from the angle of population, you know, people began to expand because of their increase in population. And what led to that increase in population is because people now have enough food to eat. You get it? The more people have food to eat, the more problem of population they continue to have. Because the food is what is keeping them alive. If you go back to the previous line, he said, in a sense, culture has been the human solution to surviving changing environment. But it has continuously compounded the problem by making it possible for more humans to stay alive. So he's talking about increased population. That's why the fact that the culture has helped human beings to stay alive, you know, to adapt to their environment. That same culture, as is providing solution to people's problem, is also creating more problem for people to continue to expand. So that is what that is saying. So in other words, human cultural evolution talking about different strategies to survive, different strategies to cope with the environment they found themselves. In other words, human cultural evolution can be seen as solving a problem that causes the same problem again and again. Do you understand that? Coupled with the explanation of Peter, do you understand that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay, thank you. The ultimate cause of success of cultural technology has been a need to produce more and more food for more and more people. Can you now see? It's continuing to produce more and more food, and again for more and more people. The more we meet one particular challenge, that will give room to expansion in human population. That's what we are facing. The invention of agriculture made it possible for our ancestors to have a more controllable and subsequently dependable food supply. The invention of agriculture made it possible for our ancestors to have more controllable and subsequently dependable food supply. Yeah, that food supply then could meet their needs. And many of them, they were into subsistence farming. For me and myself alone. It also resulted in setting down a permanent communities. It was agriculture that led to having settlement. Before then, what we had was hunting and gathering society. Hunting and gathering society. They move around in bands of 50. They move around from the oldest to the youngest one. And they have what we call division of labor. It's what the responsibility of the men, the old men, the adult among them, to hunt animals. Why it is the responsibility of the woman, of the female, to gather fruit. That's why they call it hunting and gathering society. Hunting and gathering society. So they were moving, they were like nomads, moving around for survival. But when agriculture came into existence, people began to settle down in a particular location. So it also resulted in settling down in permanent communities. This in turn set the stage for further development in technology and political organization. When the settlement began, it now turned to ask for who is the head, who is the leader. That talks about political organization. It could be traditional politics, but that led to what we call political organization, leadership. Like we were told that politics is everywhere. Politics is everywhere. Politics is ubiquitous. When you hear politics is ubiquitous, it simply means politics is everywhere. It is everywhere. It's ubiquitous. So the inevitable result was more intensive agriculture, new kinds of social and political systems dominated by emerging elite classes. Because then people that began to advance even in agriculture. Some began to use tractors, some began to use yoke oxen to make ridges. Those who are rich, they began to use cattle to make ridges. They just put a yoke around their neck and they make ridges. You can't compare somebody who is doing that with somebody who is just using his hand to clear the bush. So with that, classes began to, emerge among them. Classes began to emerge among them. The upper class, the middle class, and that gave room to what we call, political systems dominated by emerging elite classes. The first cities and ultimately the industrial and information revolution of modern times. If you look back to industrial revolution, we started in UK, it was like that. People were living based on their subsistence economy, their farming. But when industrial revolution started, people moved down to the city and they left the farms, and people, another class of bourgeoisie, the owners of the industries and those who only own their working energy. And that led to what we call class. Politics started. City life brought with it the unexpected consequences of increased rates of contagious disease. All these are aftermath effects, or what we call latent manifestation of urbanization. Starting from rural, from the subsistence economy, and when the agriculture increases, led to industrial revolution, people left the rural area and came to the cities, what we call urban centers. But there was no provision for the mass exodus of people that left the rural area to the urban center. And this led to so many diseases. It led to what we call, because overcrowding led to so many contagious diseases. So the cities were not prepared for such exodus, mass exodus, what we call rural-urban migration. It was not prepared. And we have so much, contagious diseases. Large, dense population of people make it much easier for viruses, bacteria, and other disease causing microorganisms to spread from host to host. As a result, most cities in the past were periodically devastated by epidemics. These just tell you the, effects of increase. Like we said all the time, that culture is creating how was it said the other time? That in other words, human cultural evolution can be seen as solving a problem that causes the same problem again and again. You could see as cultural evolution helps us to meet those needs, it also gave birth to so many challenges. Do we understand this aspect before we proceed? Do we understand?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You are the only one talking, Peter, and you are 9 in the class. I don't know what is wrong with the others.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. I don't want to leave anybody behind. So the rate of cultural evolution for many human societies during the last 2 centuries has been unprecedented, not planned for. Today, major new technologies are invented every few years rather than once or twice in a century. You know, we said all the time that the time for cultural evolution has shortened. You get it? And we are seeing it, instead of talking about century to century, it only takes few years for us to have new technology. You can say that again and again. If you buy a phone today, in the next 2 weeks, did I say 2 weeks? That phone you are holding will become obsolete, because they will have many one will have been released into the market. And that is what we see in other areas of life. You get it? So invention is faster than it used to be in the past. It's faster than it used to be in the past. Likewise, there has been an astounding increase in the global human population. It is worth reflecting on the fact that there are people alive today who were born before cell phones, computers, televisions, radios, antibiotics, and even airplane. These now elderly individuals have seen the human populations double several times. The world that was familiar to them in their childhood is no longer here. It is as if they have moved to a new alien culture and society. Not surprisingly, they often have difficulty in accepting and adjusting to the change. The psychological distress and confusion that accompanies this has been referred to as future shock, because we are expecting so many shock in the future. That's what we call culture shock, when you see something that is different from your own culture. But now we're also talking about future shock, because those people that were born, if your grandparents are still alive, they'll be seeing so many shock now, and they are still expecting more. Like seeing people walking naked, to them is a shock. But children of nowadays, this generation, it is nakedness that is their own culture. And compared to those old generation, it is a terrible shock. Not only walking naked, we have those that call themselves braless generation, pantless generation. They move around. You get it? So it is a shock. And it is going on. And we don't know what will happen tomorrow. Another shock that we are going to see tomorrow. Even if you think that you belong to this generation, if Christ tarries, you will see something that another generation coming after you will be doing. I say, our generation did not do this. So you get it. So the next thing is culture changes. It's telling that culture is not static. Culture is dynamic. So you're talking about culture changes. You are saying culture is dynamic. It is not static. Like what I've just explained now is cultural dynamism. Cultural dynamism. It is changing. It is not static. It's not. What used to be 50 years ago, 20 years ago, and not what we have today. I could remember, I could count the number of private schools on my fingertips when I was growing up. I could count, I don't think in the entire area in the Butemeta in Lagos, where I was born and grew up, I don't think we have up to 5 private schools. Let me see. We have Saint Savior inside railway compound. We have Tender Age. We have Mount Carmel. I don't think we have up to there in all my area there in Apapa Road. I don't think we have up to 5 private schools. But now, the reverse is the case. In fact, if possible for them, they will close all public schools. And what we only have is private schools. I don't know of any private university there until when Adejumo University came up. I think that was the first private university in Nigeria. Adejumo. But today, on daily basis, I don't know how many private university NUC is accrediting. We talk about change. In those days, children stay with their aunties and grandparents at home when we still practice extended family. But nowadays, we have taken the culture, the European culture and the Western culture. What we have is nuclear family. Myself, my wife, and my children. And that is why the increase in private schools. The increase in private schools. How dare you take a child of 3 months to crèche when the granny, the grandma, and the aunties are around? They are the one that will nurture the baby. But now because you have moved from extended family to nuclear family, the husband is going to office, the wife is going to war, both of them are bankers. They just dump the baby in crèche from 3 months. Cultural changes or culture changes. All cultural knowledge does not perpetually accumulate. At the same time, that new cultural traits are added. Some old ones are lost because they are no longer useful. They are no longer useful. As new ones are emerging, as new cultural traits are emerging, some old ones are being lost because they are no longer useful. For example, most city dwellers today do not have or need the skills required for survival in the wilderness. They will need to learn how to kill animals in the jungle. You get it? They will need to do that. In fact, some of the family today, if you tell your wife to come and pound yam for you, pound yam, you want me to die? But his mother pounded yam for his father. You want me to die? Can you want my hand to blister? Only go and get pounding machine. You can see, in fact, some who are not using pounding machine, they will blend pounded yam with this, what's it called now? Blending, what's it called now? Blending machine they used to blend pepper. They will pour yam in it and they turn it to pounded yam. I've seen that before. It's all talking about change. Like we said, the city dwellers today do not have or need the skill required for survival in a wilderness. Most will very likely starve to death because they do not know how to acquire wild food and survive the extreme of weather outdoors. What is more important in modern urban life are such things as the ability to drive a car, use a computer, and understand how to obtain food in a supermarket or restaurant. That is what is in vogue now. In fact, some ladies will tell you they don't know how to cook. Only when you come in by please remember to branch at eatery to get food for the family. You can imagine. If there to be in those days, in fact, I still remember a sister told me that she can never eat pando yam. You know, there is a flour for pounded yam now, some will say they will never eat it. If it is not pounded with mortar and pestle, they will not eat. Those are people that were born the older generation. But this young generation, give them anything in the name of pounded yam, they are eating. They don't even know the difference. You get it? So that is what we are saying. That's why the cultural change. Cultures change. The regular addition and subtraction of cultural traits result in cultural change. You lose some, you acquire new one. That is the changes you're talking about. All cultures change over time. None is static. Remember I said culture is not static. It is dynamic. However, the rate of change and their aspects of culture that change varies from society to society. There are some that has lived with us, that has, survived the test of time. They still maintain them, while some have changed. You get it? Not all. Not all. Some have been with us and they still remain with us. Some they have been modified. You get it? But some remain the way they are. For example, most city dwellers, I think we've gone beyond that. We are talking about all culture change over time. None is static. However, the rate of change and the aspect of culture that change varies from society to society. For instance, people in Germany today generally seem eager to adopt new words from other languages, especially from American English, while many French people are resistant to it because of the threat of corrupting their own language. However, the French are just as eager as the German to adapt new technology. So you can see, as the German are welcoming changes in their language, the French are not. They are not, because they don't want their culture to be what? To be watered down, to be corrupted. You get it? They don't want, because of threat of corrupting their own language. However, both Germany and French are open to what? To new technology. So you may accept one and turn down the other one. Change can occur as a result of both invention within a society, as well as division of cultural trait from one society to another. There's what we call cultural diffusion. There's what we call acculturation and enculturation. Acculturation and enculturation. And either through technology or through diffusion, that the cultural trait flow from one culture to another. For example, there are some words in Nigeria that has entered into English dictionary, like Okada. Okada is from Nigeria, and it has been adopted into English dictionary, new English dictionary. You will see the word Okada means bicycle. That is a cultural trait that has diffused from Nigeria to the global setting. So the diffusion. You get to the East, where they eat their traditional cuisine. And you see an Igbo woman or Igbo man eating amala as if he's from the West. That means that person live in the West, he ate amala and he loved it, and he brought it to the East, and before you know it, people are eating amala. That is cultural diffusion. Division of cultural trait from one society to another. Predicting whether a society will adopt new cultural traits or abandon others is complicated by the fact that the various aspects of a culture are closely interwoven into a complex pattern. Changing one trait, we have an impact on other traits because they are functionally interconnected. When we change from extended family to nuclear family, at least the issue of extended family almost disappearing in Nigeria, it has affected something. It has affected the bond in the family. It has affected togetherness in the family. Yes, we adopted the nuclear family system, but it has affected the bond in the family. And it's affecting even the spending. What should have saved you some money, now you have to pay school fees, you have to pay nanny, you get it. So that is just that. That is, accepting one will also bring a challenge to another one. As a result, there commonly is a resistance to major changes. There are some that people will resist vehemently not to change. They want to retain. As a result, there commonly is a resistance to major changes. For example, many men in North America and Europe resisted the increase in economic and political opportunities for women over the last century because of the far-ranging consequences. It's a culture that the political arena is meant for men. It's men dominated. It is what we call patriarchy. Power belongs to men. They resisted it, but gradually women are finding their way. At least we know the former head of Germany was a woman, Angela Merkel, and she had a very good tenure. So they are finding their way into politics, into that arena. Although it was vehemently resisted, but they are finding their way. So for example, many men in North America and Europe resisted the increase in economic and political opportunities for women over the last century because of the far-ranging consequences. It inevitably changed the nature of marriage, the family, and the life of all men. It also significantly altered the workplace as well as the legal system and the decision made by government. It only took time because those things are changing. Women are finding themselves in position of authority. What we used to have is that women stayed at home and men go to work. That was the culture we used to know. And that was why we don't have what we call old people's home, aged home, because it is the responsibility of the women to stay at home, to take care of the children and to take care of the aged members of the family. But today, because the women are now competing, they are now in the economic world, none of them is staying at home again. And because of that, the aged are being taken to what we call the old people's home. Or many of them are left alone, neglected. You get it? So we talk about the changes. It has the positive and the negative side of it. Now we talk about people usually are not aware of their culture. People usually are not aware of their culture. The way that we interact and do things in our everyday life seems natural to us. We are unaware of our culture because we are so close to it and know it so well. So for most people, it is as if their learned behavior was biologically inherited. They don't see it as even culture again. They just see it as part of their lives. They thought it's something they were born with. Because they are so close, we are so close to it, not remembering that we learned them. We are seeing them as if they are part of us. As if we were born with them. As if they are biologically inherited. It is usually only when they come into contact with people from another culture that they become aware that their pattern of behavior are not universal. I can remember once I entered class, I work in the eastern part of the country. In fact, when you meet people, the first thing they begin to speak Igbo. I will just say them, please, I'm sorry, I'm not Igbo. They say, I'm sorry. But you should be learning now. Because they believe that everybody around there, they believe that is the universal language. That's the universal culture. Until when they see somebody from another culture, they forgot that it is their own culture. Unique to them, it is not for everybody. It's not for everybody. You don't expect everybody to understand your culture. If they do, fine. But it's not a must because they have their own culture too. By the time they begin to exhibit their own culture too, you two will be looking like Lukman. You get? So the common response in all societies to other culture is to judge them in terms of the values and custom of their own familiar culture. And this is what we call ethnocentrism. When you begin to judge other people's culture based on your own culture, you are becoming ethnocentric. You are ethnocentric. That's what we call ethnocentrism. And not only that, you are only seeing other culture as being inferior to your own culture. You are judging them based on your own culture, and you are seeing their culture as being inferior to your own culture. That is being ethnocentric. That is being ethnocentric. That is ethnocentrism. This is ethnocentrism being found of your own way of life and condescending on even hostile towards other culture. It's normal for all people. Alien culture traits are often viewed as being not just different, but inferior. You get the point? So seeing other people's culture as if they are inferior to your own culture, then you are becoming ethnocentric. Are we together?
Yes,
Are
sir.
we together? Okay, fine.
Yes,
Yes.
sir. Yes, sir.
Great.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So he said alien culture traits are often viewed as being not just different, but inferior, less sensible, and even unnatural. For example, European cultures strongly condemn other societies that practice polygamy. Polygamy. But I want you to know the word polygamy is an umbrella name that is divided into two. If you tell me that you are from a polygamous family, I don't know what you are saying. You are either telling me that your mommy has more than 5 husbands or your daddy has more than 5 wives. So when you see polygamy, you need to differentiate what you mean. Polygamy is divided into polygyny and polyandry. So if you tell me you are from a polygynous home, you are telling me that your father has more than a wife. When you tell me you are from a polyandrous home, polyandrous, that means your mommy has more than one husband. Not that divorced, she's having them simultaneously at a time, having more than one husband. So like we said here, that European culture strongly condemn other societies that practice polygamy and the eating of dogs. So if you are from Calabar or you are from Ondo, you know, your name is Akman. The European people will not like you because they know that you eat dogs so much. So they condemn the eating of dogs, behavior that Europeans generally consider to be immoral and offensive. Likewise, many people in conservative Muslim societies, such as Afghanistan and Saudi Arabia, condemn European women highly immodest, the way they dress. They expose their body. You can see what we see now. Culture differs. They are not universal. Although some traits are universal. But we have dynamism too. As the Europeans are condemning people eating dogs, condemning polygamy, the Asian, the Saudi Muslim countries too, conservative Muslim societies like Afghanistan and Saudi Arabia consider European women highly immodest and immoral for going out in public without being, chaperoned by a male relative. You don't walk alone. If you're a woman, the male relative must be with you in the conservative Muslim countries. So they expect that from every woman, and they see the European woman as immodest and immoral for going out for going out in public without being chaperoned by a male relative and without their bodies covered from head to toe, so as to prevent men from looking at them. You can see different culture. Ethnocentrism is not characteristics only of complex modern society. People in small, relatively isolated society are also ethnocentric in their views about others. Our ethnocentrism can prevent us from understanding and appreciating another culture. When anthropologists study other societies, they need to suspend their own ethnocentric judgment. You go there neutral, especially as a researcher. For example, if you are here now and you are a born-again Christian, and I ask you to go and study the CSWs, who are the people we call CSWs? Mercy Uchechi, who are CSWs?
Sir,
Who are CSWs? What do you mean by CSWs? Hello? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, sir.
I said, what do you understand by CSWs? You've not heard of it before?
Say CS.
CSW.
CSWs.
Come again, sir.
CSW.
I did not.
I said, what do you understand by
CSW.
CSW?
CSW.
Don't let me waste my time. They are called casual sex workers, what you call prostitutes. The name for them in research, the name for them in books is called CSWs, casual sex workers. If you are a born-again Christian or a born-again Muslim and I ask you to go and study CSWs, you have already gotten, you won't even go to feed before you tell me your result. Because you tell me, they are children of the devil, Satan is their father. So if you are going to field, you need to put your religion, your faith by the side and go to the field and gather your data as neutral as possible. As neutral as possible. You get it? So we said here, our ethnocentrism can prevent us from understanding and appreciating another culture. Because you are judgmental. Ethnocentric make you judgmental. Being ethnocentric, you are judgmental. Ask them what led to this. You don't just conclude. They are so bad. No. Researchers don't do that. You leave your religion by the side, you leave your belief by the side, and you go as a neutral person. You are a researcher. You want to add to knowledge. When anthropologists study other societies, they need to suspend their own ethnocentric judgment and adopt a cultural relativity approach, knowing that culture is relative. So no culture is superior to the other. But it's a pity it is not so here in Nigeria. The opposite of cultural being ethnocentric is to be what? Xenocentric. Xenocentric. The opposite of ethnocentric is xenocentric. I know somebody will ask me to spell it. Is it true that somebody want me to spell xenocentric? Hello, are we together?
Yes, sir.
So what do you mean by xenocentric? Xenocentric. Have you seen it? I've just posted it now in the chat. When you are being xenocentric, it simply means you are seeing other people's culture as being superior to your own culture, and your own culture is inferior. That means you are being xenocentric. Do you understand that?
Yes,
No,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
I don't so understand, sir.
I should come again.
Yes,
Do you understand ethnocentric?
Sir, that one is feeling your culture is superior to other people's culture.
You are judging other people's culture based on your own culture, and you are seeing your own culture as being superior. That means you are being
Yes.
ethnocentric.
Yes.
That means you are being ethnocentric.
Ethnocentric.
But when you become xenocentric, have you seen the spelling?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
When you become xenocentric, you are now seeing your own culture as being inferior to other people's culture.
Yes,
Like
yes,
you are seeing your own culture as inferior to American culture. That's why all our girls are putting on trousers. They are adding eyelashes to their eyelashes. They want to speak like American. They want to do everything because they are being xenocentric. And I put it to most of you in this class, you are being xenocentric. True or false? True or false? You are laughing. Am I lying?
No, sir. No, sir.
You are xenocentric. You are leaving your hair turning to what we used to call crazy people. You tell me, say it is waiting at the color now, rough coils. What do you call it? Rough coils. Men, you pierce your hair, eyes, put earring. You say it's American. You are being xenocentric. When your parents, your mommy will go to that woman that will plait her hair for her, Adimole, Shuku, Koroba, Ipako Elede, different hairstyle, Yoruba hairstyle. You have sent those women out of work and they are jobless. It has multiplier effects because you are being xenocentric. Your own culture is becoming inferior. If I ask all the ladies in this class how many wrapper they have and native wears, if any one of them have one, I'm lucky. All their clothes, now skimpy skirts and trousers and leggings and jeans. You are being xenocentric. Your mommy will back you so that you will enjoy the warmth of her body in her life. Today, our ladies are becoming kangaroo, putting the children in the front. Am I saying the truth? Or am I offending some people in the class?
No, sir.
Now
No,
culture
sir.
they teach. The culture, now culture
sir.
they teach. Now culture they teach. If you like, get offended. Now I'm teaching culture. You get it? And we are talking about being xenocentric and ethnocentric. So that is that. So like we said, that many want to become like other people, seeing their culture as being inferior to other people's culture. And some people, they are judging other people's based on their own culture, being ethnocentric. So we said here, if an anthropologist is going to study other people, he will need to put down his own ethnocentric judgment and adopt a cultural relativity approach. You must have at the back of your mind, whatever I'm going to see, I will not be moved by it because culture is relative. Even if I see women backing their husband every morning, it is their culture, it is relative. Nobody is complaining. In this Benue here, that is part of Benue, forgotten that tribe in Benue. If you visit your friend as a man, if you are staying without your friend for 1 week, the wife will be sleeping with you. That is their culture till tomorrow. And none of them is frowning at it. So if you are not from that culture and you go marry a man from there, I pity your life. Because when the friend comes around, you are what he's going to use as cola for his friend. And you stay with the friend for one week, he stay. Even if he's staying 2 weeks, you are the cola. And if your husband visit his own house too, his own wife will become the cola to your husband. So don't complain that your husband is sleeping with another woman. He only ate cola in his friend's house. That's their culture. That's the culture. If you go to the Ashanti in Ghana, what they practice is matriarchy, matrilocal, and matrilineal. Matri means tracing your lineage to your mother. That is what we call matrilineal. Matri lineage. Matri, mother, linear, lineage. So if you are from that tribe in Ghana, you bear the name of your maternal grandfather. You bear the name of your maternal grandpa. Unlike what we do in Nigeria, you bear the name of your paternal grandpa. So they practice what we call matriarchy among the Ashanti in Ghana. So you can see the cultural relativity. Ideally, it is expected that when a man gets married to a woman among the Ashanti, the man moves to our house. Matrilocal. What we do in Nigeria is patrilocal. You move to the man's house. Matrilocal. Patrilocal. But what they practice is what we call matrilocal. You move to the man's house. But the men in Ghana, in that tribe, they are shame, they catch them. They don't move in with their wives. But that is what they practice. Matrilocal. The woman doesn't move, it is the man that moves. You can see that is what we talk about cultural relativity. That is, they try to learn about and interpret the various aspects of the culture they are studying in reference to that culture, rather than to the anthropologist's own support. Anthropologist's culture. This provides an understanding of how such practices as polygamy can function and even support other cultural traditions. So don't condemn them because they practice polygamy, either polyandry or polygyny. Without taking a cultural relativity approach, it will otherwise be difficult for people to comprehend why women among the Maasai cattle herding people of Kenya might prefer to be one of the several co-wives rather than have a monogamous marriage. So the ladies will rather be a co-wife rather than having his own separate marriage. That's their culture. And you don't say anything about it. You don't say they are promiscuous. There's a culture that it is the father that will confirm that his female child has matured. Meaning that he will be the one that will deflower his daughter to the world, to let the world know that, okay, now my daughter is now a lady. It's a culture. Thank God you are not there. If you are there, you accept it because that's where they were born and they are going with it. That's what they practice. So you don't now condemn that culture because of where you are coming from. No. You become ethnocentric. You become ethnocentric. Taking a cultural relativity approach is not only useful. It's not only useful. Taking a cultural relativity approach is not only useful. Oh my God. Sorry, wait. Okay, fine. Because any moment from now. Are we together? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So taking a cultural relativity approach is not only useful for anthropologists, it is a very useful tool for diplomats. You may find yourself from Nigeria, you become the ambassador to any country where their culture is contrary to your culture. It's a very useful tool for diplomats, businessmen, doctors, social workers, and anyone else who need to interact with people from other societies and even other subcultures within their own society. However, it can be emotionally difficult and uncomfortable at first to suspend one's own cultural values in this situation. From an objective perspective, it can be seen that ethnocentrism has both positive and negative values for a society. The negative potential is obvious. Ethnocentrism results in prejudices about people from other culture and the rejection of their alien ways. When there is contrast with people from other culture, ethnocentrism can prevent open communication and result in misunderstanding and mistrust. This will be highly counterproductive for businessmen trying to negotiate a trade deal, or even just neighbors trying to get along with each other. The positive aspect of ethnocentrism has to do with the protection that it can provide for a culture. You can see it can lead to mistrust, people not trusting themselves, not trusting other people. And again, it can also help to protect your own culture from being eroded. So it can do with the positive aspect of ethnocentrism has to do with the protection that it can provide for a culture. By causing a rejection of the food, customs, and perception of people in other culture, it acts as a conservative force in preserving traditions of one's own culture. It can help maintain the separation and uniqueness of cultures. Now, do we understand the positive and the negative aspect of ethnocentrism? Do we understand it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, another person. Smith, do you understand the positive and negative aspect of ethnocentrism?
No, sir.
But you didn't talk now when I said, do you understand? Peter Okenya, do you understand the positive and the negative aspect of ethnocentrism?
No, I'm trying to digest it, sir. Just
Okay, now listen. You know, we said ethnocentrism has to do with you judging other people's based on your own culture. You get it?
Yes, sir.
And this can lead to what we call mistrust. It's not good for, like we said, it's not good for anybody that wants to do business with people from other culture. It can affect you and you don't make what you intend making. That is the bad aspect of it. But the good aspect of it is that it can help you protect your culture and you become conservative. It will not allow other people to infiltrate into your culture and you keep your cultural value. That means you are not open to other culture to infiltrate into your own culture. That means you keep your culture and you continue to pass it from generation to generation. So it helps you to keep, it acts as a conservative force in preserving tradition of one's own culture. Do you understand it now?
Yes, sir.
Smith, you now understand? Peter, do you
Yes, sir.
understand now?
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Do you have another class after now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
That's Dr. Alofe, am I correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. There's one more class.
And that is from 4 to 6.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
let's call it quit from here. This is 6:04. Thank you so much. I think we're able to do something.
Thank you,
So thank
sir.
you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, it's the best. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
Thank you, sir.
you're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir.